Hey there everybody, welcome to another episode of Bert's Bike, and today we are doing the first oil change on the Yamaha Tenere 700. Now the bike just has about 600 miles on it and I want to get this oil change done so I can go out and ride this weekend. So let's tackle this together. Let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, just got to make sure you got all the right things you're going to need. Your owner's manual, a clean funnel, the right kind of oil. I chose to use Yamaha Lube, just the regular kind. Don't really care if it's synthetic at all. Oil filter wrench, your crush washer. The kit I bought came with a kind of a flat crush washer, and I already had these that were the same size that have a more rounded edge on them on one side. And I was taught that the rounded edge is the side that goes towards the engine casing. Your 8mm socket to take off the skid plate, and the 17mm socket to take off the oil drain bolt. And of course the corresponding drivers for them. Also, a good idea before you do this is actually wash the bike off and get rid of any debris that's hanging out underneath the bike, especially down here around the engine casing and particularly around that oil filter. All right, and taking off the skid plate, you got 4 bolts per side. Take those off. Notice you also got a little washer on the end of those, so be sure not to lose those. So if you care about your skid plate, put something soft underneath it so that when you undo the bolts and it comes crashing down, you won't put another dent in it. So next we got to start the bike and just run it for a couple minutes. We just want to let that operating temperature get up to kind of normal and then shut the bike off. When the bike is upright like this on the chalk, that oil sight window is pretty much full all the way. And then when you start the bike and let it run, you're going to have basically no oil in the sight glass because the oil is cycling through the entire engine. And then when you cut the bike off, you can kind of see where the oil sits when it's warm. So the right way to kind of read your oil is let the bike run for a little while, turn off the bike, then read the oil level when the bike is warm. All right, and here's where the oil is after you shut it off. Pretty much right up to that top marker. I'm going to fill it up to there. So the next thing to do is crack this oil bolt. And man, it's on there tight. Oh my gosh. What is up with that? Ugh. Oh. Okay, I know in the manual it says 30-something foot-pounds of torque, but that is not correct. Not correct at all. All right, one more time. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna break something. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's the tightest oil drain bolt plug I have ever seen. Holy cow. And that crush washer, I don't know if you can see that, that crush washer is just flattened. All right, it's a good idea to loosen your cap. Make sure that rubber O-ring is still on there. Looks like it is. Just kind of let it do its thing. We'll let that drain off for quite some time, then we'll do the oil filter here. All right, here we go. See how tight this oil filter is. Oil filter was not that tight. Wow. Just let that do its thing. I'll come back later. All right, guys, I ran a little snag here because they've been torquing these drain bolts, or Yamaha has been torquing these drain bolts to like 30 something foot-pounds, which is kind of dangerous. Actually crack your oil pan. And this is the crush washer that was on there, and it was kind of just almost fused to the drain bolt plug. And I had to get it off by using a guitar pick and jamming it in there to just pry it off. But glad I got it off. My Kawasaki Z900 RS has the same size bolt, 17 millimeter, and it's asking in the manual to torque it to 22 foot-pounds. I think Yamaha released something that says 15 foot-pounds, so I've been torquing my Z900 RS to about 20 foot-pounds, and I think this one I'm going to start at 15, and if it gets loose then I'll go to about 18, but doesn't really need more than that. My Triumph Bonneville T100 has a little smaller bolt, but I did 15 foot-pounds on that. So you can always tighten it, but if you crack that oil pan, whew, it's going to be a bad day. I started off with the bike on the wheel chock, and then I ended up putting it on the side stand, just pulling it off the wheel chock, just rolling it back like a quarter turn to get it off there. And a lot more oil came out, and it's still dripping now, so let that drip for a little bit more. But if you're going to do this on your own, probably just doing it on the side stand's best, so you can kind of manipulate the bike and make sure you get all the oil out. And then while that's doing its thing, I'm going to go ahead and put the filter back on. All right, it's pretty good already, so let's go ahead and just clean these mating surfaces. Get all that gunk out of there. All right, just for reference, that's the filter, 5GH 13440 80. And our replacement filter, 5GH 13440 80. All right, this filter comes pre-lubed already, but we're gonna go ahead and just fill it up slightly and then lube the outside of it. The reason why I'm not gonna fill it up all the way before I put it in is because it goes in sideways. So I don't want any oil spilling out when I put it on there. It's pretty tight, so I'm gonna go probably just a quarter turn more. All right, just hand tight is enough. That's pretty good. So make sure you get your crush washer off of there, of course. And the next step is just to maybe clean this a little bit, some contact cleaner, just to get any debris off of there. Just hit it a little bit, no big deal. All right, let's go ahead and get this in there. Yeah, what I like to do is just back it out a little bit until I feel the threads sink in. About right there, and then tighten it by hand. Oh, and also you're gonna wanna make sure the smooth side is facing in and the flat side is facing out. So, smooth side. So you want to thread this in by hand. And then do your torque. All right, so 15 foot-pounds is about 180 inch-pounds. So the manual calls for, with the filter change, 2.7 quarts. 32 ounces in a quart. So if I do this right, I should end up with 8 ounces left over. However, I think we're gonna fill it or drain it till 12 ounces and then run the bike and check the level. Just see what happens. All right, all that's left to do is fill up your oil. And it's 2.75 quarts. All right, don't forget to wipe this off. Get all that grime off of there so it looks new. I also felt like just wiping off the outer edge of this before I screw it on. And also double check that O-ring is still in there.
Don't know if you can see it, but it's right where it was from the factory. Just kissing that top line.
All right. All right, all that's left to do is just get that skid plate back on. You're good to go. That wasn't such a hard job after all, just super straightforward. I gotta say though, Yamaha has been tightening those oil bolts super tight. Can't believe how tight that was on from the factory. Just for reference, this is the crush washer that came off of it. Okay, definitely crushed to the maximum possible. I mean, it's so thin. And this is a standard crush washer. I think it's a M14. What a difference. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for watching. That was a pretty straightforward and simple process. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment below if you haven't already. It's Bert's Bike, and I'll catch you on the next one.